Everything we serve is fresh.
Fresh out the box, fresh out the box, fresh out the fresh out the fresh out fresh out fresh out fresh out fresh out the box, 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 fresh.
This is Kenneth Yates with MMAabsolute.com, and we're joined today via telephone conference call with JT Warsh, who is the president of Team Punishment Social Media Worldwide for Tito Ortiz. Jay, thank you so much for talking with us today. We appreciate you taking a break from your busy schedule to talk with us today. So break it down for us. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
How you doing?
Good. So break it down for us. What is it exactly do you do, and how did you get blessed with that position?
Well, basically the whole journey, I'm in the entertainment business. I was in the nightclub business from 1994 up until 2009. And my specialty was marketing, advertising, promotions in the city of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. After I retired from the nightclub business, I decided to get into building houses here in the town I live in, Oakville. But the whole entire time that I was in the nightclub business, the first time I ever watched Tito Ortiz was in 1997 at his first fight at UFC 13. And I was hooked. This guy and I had a lot in common. His brash personality, his confidence. He reminded me so much of myself, and I had that connection to him. And basically, while I was working, I did not have a lot of time to go to live UFC events. At that time, early in his career, it wasn't as big as it is today. And I was following him from a distance, and I said, one day, when I get to the level where I can sit back and I can devote more time to my MMA career, I'll be able to do something with Tito Ortiz. And it took a long time and many years for me to get to that point where I can devote to my MMA career. And I basically started on this whole journey of mine earlier this year in March. That's how fresh this whole thing is for me. Wow. And basically what I wanted to do was, everybody and their mother has a computer nowadays, and everyone is tapped into social media, everyone is tapped into Twitter and Facebook. And as a specialty, in promotions and marketing, I said to myself, Tito Ortiz, who represented online, is not the proper representation of him. There's too much negativity and too much hatred towards a man who practically, in my eyes, built the UFC on his shoulders.
Definitely.
And I said something needed to be done. And every time I would go onto Facebook and every time I would go onto Twitter, I just kept reading negativity. And I said, there's enough negativity in the world that we have today. We need to see more positivity, and people need to see the other side of Tito Ortiz. And I said, I'm going to put together something powerful and something strong. And I built the most powerful, strongest social media site on Facebook to represent the Huntington Beach bad boy, now known as the People's Champ, Tito Ortiz. We have over 1,500 solid members worldwide, from Canada, United States, Europe, the Caribbean, the Middle East, Asia, right across the board. People that support and love this man and respect what he's done for the Ultimate Fighting Championship.
Now, when you go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's just role of leaps and bounds. And the man who gave me my opportunity to be part of Team Punishment, to show Tito what I can do, is a man by the name of Joe Lear. And Joe Lear represents a company called MMA for MMA. He's one of the most successful boxing promoters, sponsorship gurus in the business. And we hit it off back at UFC 132. And he said, you know what, JT, I'm going to give you an opportunity to show me and Tito what you can do. And you know what? The rest is history. Wow. The rest is history. So many big things are happening right now. And it's thanks to Joe Lear and Tito for giving me the opportunity to show that there's people out there who, when they say they're going to do something, they do it. And that's the type of individual that I am.
Now, as we all know, in everything you do, there's ups and there's downs. What's the best part of your job, and I don't want to say the worst, but like the hardest? What's the hardest part of your job?
Well, you know what? I'm not going to lie. ever since I started this, we do I do video blogs. I do a lot of video blogs talking about, Tito's prior fights, Tito's trials and tribulations, and I have received, a lot of hate, a lot of people throwing a lot of hate towards me, a lot of, negativity, a lot of hate mail, a lot of people bashing what I'm doing because a lot of people don't agree and understand why I stand behind him. And, my views are my views. Everybody is entitled to an opinion. But when you really get to know somebody, then you can make your opinion. And a lot of people don't know him. A lot of people don't know me. And they throw stones at you all the time. And I've taken a lot of flack and a lot of heat because of my views and my support of Tito Ortiz. But at the same time, people say if you don't have haters, you haven't achieved anything in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a lot of people that love him and a lot of people that don't like him. But the people that don't like him don't know him not to like him. And that's where I connected with him because we have that same kind of craziness in common, if you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, definitely. Now we all know that Tito has one fight left on his contract.
Right.
Have you heard or might have heard who that might be or who he might be interested in fighting?
Well, Tito was here a couple weeks ago, and we spent some good time together for the UFC 140 in Toronto when he fought Little Nog. And we spoke about this, and he told me, in passing that, it would be epic if Chuck Liddell could come out of retirement and they can have a trilogy bout. But I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think Chuck Liddell would get passed to fight by the commission.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Dana White would let it happen. But if those two ever fought again, it's like a dream for me, and it's probably a dream for a lot of people out there.
Yeah.
It'd probably be one of the biggest gates again. They still hold a record for the biggest pay-per-view in UFC history.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's going to happen. It was just, a conversation in passing.
Mm-hmm.
Realistically speaking, I think you're probably going to see Tito Ortiz face Forrest Griffin for the third time, or Rich Franklin. That's realistically speaking. Those two are probably the best two opponents for him.
Has there been any word of when that might take place? I mean, not necessarily who it might be, but when he might fight again?
Well, as all of the true MMA fans know, the hardcore Tito fans, Tito's first fight in the UFC was at UFC 13 at the end of May in 1997. So I think it would be appropriate and fitting for him to retire and end his career at the end of May when he starts fighting initially in the UFC. I think that would be fantastic. And to top it all off, that's my birthday weekend. I think his retirement, my birthday, hand in hand. And of course, the fight is going to happen in Las Vegas because Tito Ortiz owns Las Vegas. That's his town.
Yeah.
And that would be appropriate for him to end his career in Vegas, probably at the end of May. If it's not the end of May, it could be maybe the long weekend, the American long weekend in July, the weekend that he just beat Ryan Bader. So those probably the two.
No, as you mentioned, Tito, he's been fighting for a long time since, UFC 13. And a lot of
Right.
people have been talking about, him being inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame. Have you heard anything about that? Or even what are your thoughts about that?
If you look at the eras of the UFC, now this is something that I've put together in my head, and a lot of people who respect mixed martial arts in the UFC will understand. You have three eras right now in UFC. Era A is the Royce Gracie era.
Mm-hmm.
Era B, I think, is the Tito Ortiz era. And then you have era 3, you have GSP and Anderson Silva. The second era, the Tito Ortiz era, era B, is probably one of the most crucial eras to get the company to where it is today. Because along with Chuck Liddell, Tito, and Randy Couture, those three men basically had that company on their shoulders. And he was the poster boy of that company for a very, very long time. This is even pre-Zuffa, when Dana White And the Fertitta brothers even took over the company in 2001. He was there since '97 when Bob Marowitz owned the company, and Dana was his manager. So it's a shoo-in. If he doesn't get into the Hall of Fame, you definitely know there's some politics going on there, but facts are facts. He held the light heavyweight championship longer than anybody has. He defended it against guys who are very respected in the sport. And everywhere he goes, it doesn't matter if it's a UFC event or a non-UFC event, he's known. He's not only a fighter, he's a superstar. And that's the difference between Tito Ortiz and the rest that's out there.
Definitely. Well, JT, thank you again for talking with us today. In closing, do you have any last words or shout outs to anybody that you would like to make?
You know what, basically everyone who's listening to this right now, if you respect and you admire what Tito Ortiz does, you know, he's very, very, heavily involved with the U.S. military. He does a lot of charity work. He's a very giving individual. Our support group, which is his official group, is on Facebook. Just type in, Tito Ortiz support, and we'll pop up, and you can be part of history, because after he retires, he has so much going on still with his gym in Huntington Beach, the Punishment Training Center. He has a new line of supplements out now called the Punishment Nutrition line, and, he's training upcoming fighters, so he's not going away. His brand is strong. It's stronger than anybody's, and when you think of punishment, it's going to be going on for a long, long time. And he's got a lot of stuff coming up right now with some television, and there's a lot of positivity going on. That's his new brand. That's what he's preaching right now. He's a new individual. He's happier. He's healthy, and life is good. Life is good. That's all I can say.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's been great talking with you. Happy holidays, and we'll definitely keep in touch and do this again real soon. Thank you again.